Welcome everyone to Chapter 9, Fair-Mindedness. In this chapter, we're going to cover defense mechanisms that cloud our thinking, the effective conformity on critical thought, rational approaches to emotional reasoning, points of logical vulnerability, and active listening techniques. Let's get started here. Obstacles. We have two obstacles that stand in our way of being fair-minded. Ethnocentrism and egocentrism. So, ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is a belief that one's race or culture is central. Attitude of superiority. Believing that as Americans, we are the best because we know we have the best government, we are the best everything. That is a ethnocentristic way of thinking. So fair-mindedness involves respect, diversity, willingness to hear and understand, and openness to change. So think about everything that's going on in the world right now with the protests. Think about if you are attending the protest, if you are doing the marches, or if you hear people that are attending and protesting. Are you respecting diversity? Are you willing to hear and understand? Are you open to change? Egocentrism. So egocentrism is a view that everything else in relationship to us, to ourselves, one's own personal attitude of superiority. So that doesn't mean that you're constantly thinking you're the best, but you're thinking your thoughts are right. Your ideas are right compared to others. My values are right. So when you hear someone like, no, I'm thinking and I'm feeling and I'm doing this and this is why it's right. We all have moments of egocentrism. So this is how we become or stop being less egocentric. We had to work on the skills of recognizing our defense mechanisms. And I'm going to give you some defense mechanisms coming up in the future slides. We also have to understand and be empathetic. And then we have to recognize our inability to be rational. And that one right here, this one here is really discussing and understanding where our emotions get mixed in with the thought process. Defense mechanisms. So how do we defend our egos? There's strategies to avoid uncomfortable realities. So really we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to feel that we are being judged or attacked. So we come up with these defense mechanisms. One being justifications. And I think I might have skipped the slide. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go back here. Yes, there we go. So before we go into justifications, defense mechanisms are rationalizations, denial. These are some of the defense mechanisms we use. So these are strategies we use to avoid uncomfortable realities. Think about how often we rationalize, we make excuses for why we do things. And we covered the types of rationalizations in the last module. Denial. We deny that we ever said it, felt it, or thought about that because it's feeling uncomfortable or we're feeling attacked. Justifications. Making sense with excuses. So someone, you break your diet and you say, oh, I already ruined my diet earlier, so go ahead and eat these donuts and cookies at the potluck. What about an unreturned phone call? She must be really busy, or something must have happened to him, and you make excuses because maybe it's too hard to accept that person is not interested in you. Which brings me to our video clip. So as we watch this video clip from the movie He's Just Not That Into You, listen to the character Gigi and the justifications or excuses that she makes for this young man not calling her.
Look, you seem like a cool girl, so I'm just going to be honest with you. Connor's never going to call you.
Oh, really? How do you know?
Because I'm a guy, and it's just how we do it.
He said it was nice meeting me.
I don't care if he said you were his favorite female since his mommy and Joni Cunningham. Over a week went by, okay, Gigi? And he didn't call you.
But maybe he did call and I didn't get the message. Or maybe he lost my number, or is out of town, or got hit by a cab, or his grandma died.
Or maybe he just didn't call because he has no interest in seeing you again.
Yeah. But my friend Terry once went out with a guy who never called. She totally wrote him off. Over a year goes by.
Right.
And she ran into him, and it ended up that they...
Your friend Terry's an idiot, and she's also the exception.
Okay, so why did I show you that clip? Because it's the perfect example of justifications, making excuses to feel better about ourselves. Let's go on here. Cognitive dissonance. Let's talk about that, and because that's one of the reasons why we rationalize. Cognitive, let's give you that definition there. So cognitive is thought and that idea, and the dissonance is the discomfort. So when we have a thought or an idea and it doesn't make sense with our actions, we're going to suffer some cognitive dissonance. Let's look at this. We explain away the inconsistencies between our principles and our actions, rather than facing them and dealing with them. We don't want to face and deal with them. That might be a little bit tough. So we explain away our inconsistencies between our principles and our actions. So let me give you an example. Defense mechanism, denial. Denial is one of the defense mechanisms. It is refusal to recognize any negative or threatening information. Can you think of a situation when people use denial to refuse to see what's right in front of them? The situation or the example that I use is domestic violence. If a woman or a man are being abused, and they'll come to work with a black eye, or they're meeting with friends and they have bruises, and the friends say, oh my God, did he hit you, or did she hit you again? Whatever it is, when the person starts to say, oh, they didn't mean to, oh, it was an accident, they're making those excuses of denial. It's not that bad. It's not that serious. That is denial. And that denial is a defense mechanism because it's too hurtful for us to, it's a form of protecting oneself, that ego. So it's important that we recognize these defense mechanisms because as a skill, we use this to avoid those uncomfortable realities. So this is in your 9.1, understand why people rationalize. So make sure you really look at that for the quiz, but also for yourself. It's a life lesson